Doesn't matter what level you're at. You can clarify it through income or through your focus. What I want you to truly understand and get is your next level of income, of impact, of freedom is about shifting an identity where most people fall over. This is where you become the architect or the builder. What's really frustrating at this stage is you're making more money top line, but you're keeping less. Don't ask for your problems to be smaller, just ask to be better. Because on the other side of this is when you get to shift past. I'm Duncan, and this is Self-Made Millionaire. If you've done all the courses, meditated, journaled, healed your inner child, but are still feeling stuck, you're not alone. After helping thousands of driven entrepreneurs like you, I discovered the real shift isn't in fixing yourself. It's in creating from your superconscious. This podcast will help you to break the loop, stop oscillating, and finally build a business that gives you time, wealth, and true freedom without burning out. Let's dive in. If you want to unlock your next income bracket along your entrepreneur journey, what you have to understand is that there is a different identity for each level. And in fact, the identity that you're at right now could be holding you back. I remember when I first learned this, I'd continually gone for the first 3 levels multiple times over and over again, and I was wondering why I was continually stuck. I kept starting a new business only to get to the same place, thinking the grass was always greener somewhere else. Then I noticed so many other business owners would continually do the same thing. They'd be stuck at certain levels, start a new business, go back to the first level, and then go through them. Before I learned each one of these levels and even knew about them, I was so frustrated because I was going round in circles. I would go through the first 3 levels. I would come up with a new idea. I would figure out a minimum viable product. I'd figure out how to sell it and market it, and then get really busy, overwhelmed and frustrated. And instead of knowing that there was next levels to shift to, I thought it was the opportunity. So I thought it was the idea. And so, my first business as a personal trainer, which was 23 years ago, I was able to get through the first 2 places in this. My next business as a DJ, I got slightly a bit further. I figured out marketing, and then I started again. My next business, I was selling iPhones on eBay. I got a little bit further. Then I shifted into water filters, and I got a little bit further, but I never allowed myself to get. In fact, even the business in 2015, before I learned this information, I was making millions of dollars, but I was still stuck in these first 3 levels. I didn't have the systems. And so once I was able to shift and understand that there was a different version of me that needed to come through, I was able to build everything that I have. Because before I knew this, I thought I was going to be able to hire someone else to do each of the levels. But the problem with that is none of them are going to build the business for you. You have to learn how to shift through each one of these. And there's a big problem with not understanding the very next phase you need to get to. Many people get information from 5 steps down or 3 steps behind, not realizing what's next, which is exactly why this is very important and you must understand all these levels. Each one of these levels has a predictable income. Each one of these levels has a predictable focus and a way to graduate to the next level. If you want to break through to your next level of financial success, you need to shift your identity along this journey. So let's get through and explain every single one of these identities. The first level on the journey is when you're a seeker, you're starting out, you're curious, and you're leaving the job world. You'll typically be making between $0 and $40,000, and this is just the beginning. Most people love this time because there's not really many ways to fail. You're coming up with ideas. You're getting focused. You're building new routines. You're clarifying who you're going to serve, what you're going to serve, and you may just take on a couple clients, and you're kind of just establishing what your business is, how it works. At this level, you have to learn how to be an entrepreneur. You no longer have a boss. You no longer have a structure where you have to turn up at a certain place. And it's really important that you become self-motivated and you define an ideal customer and an ideal product, which then gets you to the second level. This is where you really get to start. The focus here is sales, okay? At this level, your identity is on a minimum viable product and you can make up to $100,000. Now, out of 30 million businesses in the United States, there is 16.9 million in the first level, and there's about 6 million that never get past this level, okay? At this level, it's about having a product. It could be a service, like you're a chiropractor or a doctor or a coach or a naturopath. You have a service that you provide and you just learn how to sell it, okay? You validate your product, you have a service, you're starting to know how to get that transaction going. And really, this is about sales, okay? It's about sales and delivery. Most people get very frustrated because even though they're making $100,000 in business is not the same as $100,000 in a job, because you have that 100,000, you take out, your costs and your marketing, you don't have much left over for you. So most people want to get to the next level. Now, the next level is where you get to promoter. Okay. Promoter is now marketing. So you've figured out your product, you've figured out how to be motivated, you've got through the curious seeker stage, you've got to the next stage where you start and you figure out your minimum viable product and you have that identity. Now you need to make this next shift into promoter. And lots of business owners get here. Around about 6 million businesses get into this stage and don't get past it. And in this place, it's about growing your leads, your list, your database, and the typical income, somewhere 100 to 300,000, okay? This is where marketing strategy comes in, lead generation, building demand. And this stage is really fascinating to me because many businesses think this is their problem. And they get stuck here and they never graduate to the next place. Now, we've covered the first 3. There are 9 in total. When you look at these first 3, what I want you to understand is what you learned at the stage before typically holds you back in the next stage. So the curious seeker who's out there coming up with ideas, well, then they have to become a starter and just start selling one thing. And typically they want to go back and come up with more different ideas, but they don't need to do that anymore. Once they've figured out how to sell one thing, they need to move to marketing. But do you know what happens? Is typically they stay starter, thinking they don't know how to sell and coming up with different products. Then you come into promoter where you start to build a database and you get up to around about 300,000. Now, if you notice, another thing that's curious to me is each one of these shifts is about a 3x multiple in what it is that you're earning. The next stage is where most people fall over. Okay, this is where you become the architect or the builder. This is where you want to build systems, infrastructure that works without you. So when it comes to time, this is the overtime stage, right? So think about this. You went from part-time as a seeker, you shifted into maybe full-time, maybe, then you went to overtime. When you're the builder, it's like double overtime. This was the worst place for me. And I got to this place multiple times in my business career. It sucks. I tell you, it sucks because at this stage, not only have you got to understand and lead the marketing, not only have you got to do the sales, not only have you got to deliver the product, and now you're asked to build systems and infrastructure that works beyond you. What's really frustrating at this stage, and let me know if you're at this place, is you're making more money top line, but you're keeping less. You're keeping less money yourself because at this stage, you're spending on tech and tool and teams and Meta and Instagram and Reels and all of these other things you got to do. You're so busy, but you're actually getting less. And a lot of people don't lean in and get through this stage. They step back, they pull back. And so if you're at that stage and you got to be building the systems and it feels like on one hand, you're building the systems and then on the other hand, you're making sales. And then on the other hand, you don't have a third hand, but on the other hand, you're out there and you're delivering and leading and things. It's okay. Don't ask for your problems to be smaller, just ask to be better. Because on the other side of this, is when you get to shift past that glorious $1 million mark. And the first time you do it, you'll celebrate. I remember the very first time I did $1 million in a year, and I was just so beyond, I don't even know the emotion. I remember crying in my hotel room, actually, that I'd done it. It was such a big thing. So you'll get through that with systems. This next place goes so fast. I do not remember hitting 1, 1.5, 2, or 3, because this next place, once you have the systems, once you have the ability to sell, once you have the ability to lead, you become an operator. This level is where you get to lead with leverage. This is where you get to start actually hiring talent. Because once you're over $1 million, somewhere between 1 and 3 million, which is this level, and by the way, there are only 700,000 businesses in the United States that are at this level. So at this level, you're making between 1 and 3 million. You can start hiring talented people. I remember the first time I asked my business coach, I said, what do I need to do, now that I'm at this next level? He said, you need to operate, and he said, you need to hire a COO. And I was like, a coup? A what? What's a COO? He goes, you need a COO, a CTO, a CMO. And I just thought, an EIEIO, like, what are all these things that I need to have? He said, at this stage, Chris, and I said, well, how much do one of those cost? And he goes, 250 grand. I was like, what? I'm not even paying myself that. But at this level, you get to hire really talented people who don't want to be entrepreneurs, who want to work inside of your vision, and you can really start to gain wealth. Wealth in this stage, this is the most fun stage for me in business. Like, This is so cool, so fun. And a lot of people deny themselves reaching this level, but it's not the end, by the way. There's still a lot more to come. But I love this level because it's like you have a dashboard and you're getting to employ capital, a team, and ideas to do things for you. And it's funny, you become quite competently incompetent. Like you forget how to do a lot of stuff. It's quite hilarious because you have so many people that are able to do things for you. So I loved this stage. But if you're like me, you're going to get to the stage, you're going to want more. Make a couple $1 million a year is great. But that's the operator stage. And the focus is on operating and leading and building the right team to lead the system, to lead the marketing, to lead the sales, to lead the product. Real quick, if you're a driven entrepreneur who's done all the work but still feels stuck, or like you're oscillating between progress and burnout, I've got something really powerful for you. I'm running a live training where I'll show you how to unlock your superconscious so you can finally create the freedom, wealth, and impact you're here for. Hit the link in the show notes to save your spot. And now, back to the episode. Now, the next shift. This is when you get to shift and make that next jump from 3 to 9 million. And this is where you get to become a strategist. Now, again, let me remind you that the level before, the identity that you have before, holds you back at the next level. So when you become the strategist, now it's vision setting, direction, culture. You're not actually operating. So the part of you, the identity that was operating and getting on the tools and helping the team and being in it, that part of you has to die. The part of you before that learned how to build systems has to go. No longer should you be building systems. The part of you that markets, all of those have to go. Many people never let themselves become the strategist where they're making, $1 million months. They're really going for it and have this income, developing leadership, company culture. This is where you don't know everyone in your team. And, I still remember I flew over to the Philippines, had this big team gathering. I had people from Australia, New Zealand, United States, Europe, and the Philippines. And we all met in this big thing. And I remember introducing myself to team members because I'd never even met them. I didn't even know their name. They obviously all knew me. So it's a very different place to be in. But this is where you're developing leadership, company culture, systematic decision making. You know what's really interesting? Many people that come out of corporate, this is what they're trained in. They're trained at this level. And so why that's a problem is they try to apply this level of thinking, the strategy level of thinking, right back at seeker or starter or sales, and they get it completely wrong. Whereas other people who've always been in a sales focus, they get to this level and they want to always go back and do the selling. So this is a really interesting level to be at. It's super fun. And you get to around about 10 million. This is a great identity when you're in strategy, when you're in this focus. The next level is where you are an investor and you're able to really start making a big impact. This is where you're making more than $10 million and you can diversify. And so I got to this place quite quick once I figured out this system. Okay, so I got taught this system and then I realized that I kept getting stuck at a certain level, figured it out, got here within a couple of years. And so then when you get to this point, you understand all the identities, you can go back and you can quickly hire. So I built my second company to 10 million a year in half the time it took me to do the first one. Because at this level, you start to think about your impact and strategic investments and alliances. This way you can diversify. Now you can have partnerships, you can build big impact, but you can actually go into different places. You can start bundling things together. You start thinking about acquisition and assets, and you start thinking about how your balance sheet looks in your future. It's driven through strategic acquisitions and investment and diversification. It's a completely different conversation, and it changes every single time. And so finally, you're at this level. You have big money to be able to shift and go and do things with, but there's actually more available for you. And so the next level is where you're in big contribution as a philanthropist. And this is where I'm at. We're able to give back, mentoring and guiding others. You're able to help others because you can say, I've been through all the levels, been right out to this, and now I can go back and help others to go through it. So now it's about finding others, giving them money, helping them through the same journey. It's so fascinating, the amount of people that try to be at this level before they've even done the journey. They don't understand the journey. So now you know the levels and you understand it. Most of us want to be at this end level, giving back, guiding, helping, but you got to earn it. Now, along that journey, as you go through every single stage, what I want you to truly understand and get is your next level of income, of impact, of freedom is about shifting an identity. Each shift there's a different focus, there's a different way of being in the world, there's different skills, and also everything that you did up till then, it's not that it doesn't matter, it's that everything up until that point was in a completely different focus, and you have to let it go and make the jump and make the jump. And every single jump is just as scary as that first jump of leaving your job and going into business. And so I'm at this level now, and me and my wife, we went and we looked at this amazing property, and it's amazing. This venue we found, it's up in the top of the hills here in the Gold Coast, and it's tens of millions of dollars to buy it. And we have to make the jump to go buy that, and that's what we're in now. We're in that level. So the jumps and the big challenges never stop. But without this roadmap, you might be thinking, why is it that I just keep going around and around and around and around and around in circles? And the answer is you never make the shift. So finally, once you make all the shifts, you end up in legacy. And legacy is where you've mentored others, you've built out the philanthropy, you've built the investment, and you can start creating lasting influence and scale. And that is where I'm at. So I can't coach you much about that level. That's what I'm aiming for. That's where I'm going. That's my next jump. And that's what I'm wanting to do. If you want to break through to the next level, what you must understand is, number one, what level you're at. Number two, what level you need to get to, and then how to recode your whole identity to get it now. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in a 2-hour live training that I've got coming up. If you're interested in rapidly increasing the ability to move to the next level and to grow your business, impact, and influence, click the link here, join the session. I cannot wait to show you how to make this happen fast. And so we're all on this journey together called entrepreneurship or business ownership. And so it doesn't matter what level you're at. You can clarify it through income or through your focus. It's a really interesting place to be. So let me know, what level are you at right now? What screams out to you? Are you just making the first jump? Are you just a seeker getting started? Are you a starter who knows what you're going to do? You're starting to sell. Are you a promoter that's looking to get your marketing and promotion sorted? Are you a builder and an architect of systems? Are you an owner? Are you a leader? Are you an operator? Are you an investor? Are you the philanthropist, or are you out there as an entrepreneur building legacy? Let me know. I'd love to know where you're at and where you're going. Subscribe, like, and share this video. Talk to you soon. Bye for now. If you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss the real conversations and tools to help you break the cycle so you can create a business and life you actually love. If you're ready for more support, check out the link in the show notes. I'm running a live training where you'll learn how to unlock your superconscious and start scaling with purpose, profit, and peace. And don't forget to follow me on all socials at Chris M. Duncan. Remember, stop solving problems, start creating your future.